All right, so we are live. I think we are live. Okay, so let's get started. Namaste everyone and welcome to LPT IPMAT. I'm Shruti Tiwari and I'll be taking you through the series, PYQ series of JIPMAT. Today we are going to discuss questions which were in 2024. All right, I'm starting the session with good expectations from you that you will be practicing questions along with me. A lot of questions which have parallel questions, and parallel explanations. My purpose is to make you practice as much as possible the similar variety of questions so that you don't need to give extra time for revision. You can give almost all of your time for practicing mathematics and reasoning questions. So English is the easiest chunk, and I expect you to do it along with me so that you gain a lot of speed while you are solving the test. All right, so two purposes or two birds to be killed with one stone. This is the session for that. And one is obviously having practice along with the session itself, so that you avoid getting into that extra effort. And second is that you should gain a lot of momentum and speed while solving the questions, because most of the questions are repetitive in their pattern and level of difficulty and nature. There are a few fluctuations here and there which I will discuss with you, and we will come out with some jugaad to handle those situations. So without wasting any time now, let's get started. All right, so you know the rule. I'll give you a little time to solve the question and then we'll have a discussion. So the very first question. Hi Jishan, hello. Yeah, so if you know the word, you know the answer. Ultra-wise. Ultra is always beyond. Ultra is always beyond the reach. So beyond. The answer. No doubt at all. Even if you don't know the exact meaning of the expression, the phrase, although this is a very routine usage in jury or the litigation processes or legal processes, but otherwise also, if you feel that this is a very specific kind of word which commonly we do not understand, you at least understand ultra. Yeah. So if you don't understand ultra, then tell me. Have you not read these words? Ultraviolet, ultrasonic, ultramodern, ulterior. You know, ulterior look of the house and the interior look of the house. So we know what is ultra, isn't it? Ultramodern, beyond, current style of modernity. That is ultramodern. Ultrasonic, that is sound which is beyond the range of human hearing. You know this word. Ultraviolet, that is beyond the spectrum of violet or visible light. Similarly, the opposite of ultra is intra. Intra means within, inside, or during something. Exact opposite of ultra is intra. Intramural. So this is something which is between or within the walls of single institution. Intravenous. Intravenous is within a vein. Intravenous is that saline or injections which are given to you. Medicine which is given intravenous. Intranet, that is a private computer network which is only accessible by the organization itself. Nothing goes beyond that for security purposes. We know this is a very common expression. Intrapersonal skills, every day we use this word, isn't it, in communication skills and personality development. What is intrapersonal? Occurring within individuals and a group, isn't it? So for example, intrapersonal skills are required to get success in corporate world, because you need to have good relationships with your colleagues and co-workers, isn't it? That is intrapersonal. So we understand that intra means within and ultra means beyond. So even if you didn't know the word of ultra wires, you at least know this ultra. So ultra is beyond. You have the answer here. Okay. Let's move to the second question now. Hi K. Pushkar, welcome to the class. Alright, so in a few minutes time, when the clock strikes 6, I would be waiting here for an hour. So in a few minutes time, that means I'm talking about the future tense. And I'm also saying that I'm waiting here for an hour. That means मुझे यहाँ पर रुकते हुए 1 घंटा हो चुका होगा. Isn't it? So in a few minutes time, when the clock strikes 6, I would be. अब यहाँ पे would क्या प्रॉब्लम आ रही है? would तो past tense में यूज होता है और probability के लिए यूज होता है. यहाँ पे probability नहीं है. इंसान आपको बहुत क्लियरली बता रहा है that clock strikes 6, मुझे यहाँ पर 1 घंटा हो चुका होगा. So the answer should be I shall have been waiting here for an hour. I shall have been waiting. क्यों have been waiting? Because हम 1 घंटे से रुके हुए हैं. So there is a period of time which has been expressed here, isn't it? So for that we use future perfect continuous tense. अगर वो jargons नहीं भी याद रखने हैं कि वो कौन सा tense है, इतना दिमाग में रखना चाहिए कि whenever we are talking about a period of time the work has been continuing, then we use have been an ing or has been an ing. Because I'm here talking about I, so यहाँ पर मैं use क्या करूंगी? Have been. देखो जरा सेंटेंस को, मुझे बताओ क्या आना चाहिए यहाँ पे. By the time this library closes down, that means अभी लाइब्रेरी क्लोज नहीं हुई है. By the time वो क्लोज होती है, मुझे रीडिंग करते हुए 2 घंटे हो चुके होंगे. That means I've been reading for almost 2 hours. तो जब तक लाइब्रेरी बंद होगी अभी हुई नहीं है. I'm talking in the future tense. A point of time in future. By the time this library closes down, that means I'm talking in future. दूसरा, I am doing an activity for 2 hours. तो क्या लिखना पड़ेगा? We shall have been reading for 2 hours. Making sense? कोई दिक्कत? All right. Let's move to the next question on your screen. All the students and teachers. All the students and teachers. So we have plural subject. So the verb has to be plural. All the students and teachers like this book. Likes कब आएगा? If it was only for one teacher or student. आर लाइक जैसा तो कुछ होता नहीं है, लाइकिंग भी नहीं होगा, बिकॉज like, prefer, we do not use ing. I am liking you, we don't say that, isn't it? वैसे तो love और hate के लिए भी यूज नहीं करते थे, but then I'm loving it आजकल बोलने लगे. But otherwise in verbs like, hate, love, we generally do not use ing form. I like ice cream, I like you, I like wearing this, I'm liking, we never say. All right, next question. Okay, so the sentence has started from here. When Dr. Sapra came to the school in 1995, Dr. Anand had already been teaching there since 5 years. Oh, a repeated question, repeatedly asked question in JIPMAT. Almost every year we are seeing this question in different sentences, isn't it? So we do not use since 5 years. We have to say for 5 years. Now, can we use have or we need to use had? That's the question. So when Dr. Sapra came to the school in 1995, we are talking in past tense, because we are talking about 1995, gone away time. So I cannot use have because this is in present tense, and hence my answer automatically comes out as B. So Dr. Anand had already been teaching there for 5 years, or since 1990. For point of time, we use since 1990, since Monday, since Friday, since last month. All right, so it is always point of time that we take for since, but for a duration of time like 5 years, 5 minutes, 5 hours, we'll always use for. Very, very commonly repeated question of JIPMAT. Next question on your screen. Okay, that's an interesting question on punctuation marks. Oh, very bad. Then colon. So, I am so sorry, वो अपने आप ही हो जाता है. I was expecting कि मैं question create कर दूंगी, but then otherwise okay. So, the bell rings in noon. This is a common information, so we need a full stop over here. Did you hear the bell? This is asking you a question, so you will put a question mark. The schedule for bell, and then I am giving information about it, so I'm using colon for that. All right, so we use colon when we are listing down information. We use a question mark obviously when we are asking a question, and when we give a simple plain sentence, then we use full stop at the end of it. We call it period as well. Not full stop, period also. But here, there goes the bell. So it's exclamation mark because we are exclaiming or expressing excitement अरे bell बज गई, kind of, that's an enthusiasm. So we use exclamation marks for feelings. Hooray, alas, oh, aha. So that is where we use exclamation marks. Whenever we need to express emotions in words, we use exclamation marks. So here it will be exclamation mark. All right, next word. Hi Tuhin, I'm happy that you are here. Welcome to the class. Hi Pushkar, welcome to the class. Jishan, I am expecting good answers now. All right. Next question. What is hackneyed? Hackneyed, something which is overused, something trite, commonplace, repetitively boring. That is hackneyed. Hackneyed dialogues of Bollywood movies, hackneyed dialogues of parents in the house. You don't listen to me. That is an hackneyed dialogue. You need to get up early in the morning. Do some exercise. Hackneyed dialogue. Sun ke bore ho gaye. That is hackneyed. So what should be the answer here? Cliched. What is cliched? Cliched is very ordinary, commonplace. Or you could say trite, boring. Boring would be more in the sense of boredom, but boring in the sense of very commonly, repetitively used. So repetitively, we can say repetitive. Yeah? Okay, next question. Correct spellings. Very easy question. Very easy question. What is the correct spelling? Disease. Dis-ease. This is dis-ease. Discomfort. Whenever you get ill, you get discomfort, and that's the reason it is called dis-ease, disease. Okay, the idiom a gentleman at large means a gentleman at large. You can even call this person as a rolling stone, or a man of leisure. रईस की औलाद है भाई, रईस है, उसे कुछ क्या, शहजादा है, उसे क्या काम करना है, ठीक है, इतना पैसा है बाप दादाओं का कि काम करने की जरूरत ही नहीं है. सो इज अ जेंटलमैन एट लार्ज, डजंट नीड टू डू एनीथिंग, नवाब है, ठीक है. और क्या बोल सकते हैं? रोलिंग स्टोन या फुट लूज. फुट लूज ये बेसिकली उसको बोलते हैं जो दे कीप ऑन चेंजिंग देयर जॉब्स, दे आर नेवर permanently engaged in one kind of a job. They join some company and then they leave it in 2 to 3 months or 6 months, and then they are free again. So then they again go for a job and then they'll skip again. So that is footloose or rolling stone. So the answer should be a man without job, but not in the sense of garib insan. A gentleman at large is not a garib insan or a person who is in need of job or unemployed person. No, a gentleman at large is खानदानी रईस है तो ज्यादा जॉब वॉब की जरूरत नहीं है, kind of. Okay, next. So this is one word, again a very repetitive question. One word substitution. Pick the best substitute. One who does not care for literature or art. डिक्टेटर तो उसको होता है जो डिक्टेटरशिप करता है, अ पर्सन हु इज obsolete, no, not obsolete, sorry, ऑब्स्टिनेट, लिटरेचर और आर्ट को न मानने वाला इज फिलिस्टीन, फिलिस्टीन। बुर्जुआ भी बोलते हैं, बुर्जुआ, और अनकल्चर्ड पर्सन और लो ब्रो, a very commoner kind of a person. Okay. अंडरलाइन फ्रेज का मीनिंग बताना है। शुड स्पेंडिंग ऑन आर्ट्स बी मेट आउट ऑफ द पब्लिक पर्स। तो पब्लिक पर्स का मतलब क्या है? व्हाट डू यू मीन बाय दैट? स्पेंट फ्रॉम पब्लिक पर्स। पब्लिक पर्स मतलब क्या है? पब्लिक का पैसा। और पब्लिक का पैसा कहाँ होता है? गवर्नमेंट के पास होता है। सो इट शुड बी गवर्नमेंट मनी, गवर्नमेंट मनी। पुअर के लिए, जो डिस्ट्रीब्यूटेड टू पुअर एंड नीडी, उसके लिए हम बोलते हैं आर्म्स या डोनेशन। डोनेशन तो दिया ही हुआ, दान देते हैं जो। आर्ट एंथुजियास्ट के लिए जो दिया जाता है वो स्टाइपेंड बोल सकते हैं, उसको एंडाउनमेंट बोल सकते हैं। तो आर्ट और साइंस के लिए जो हम दान देते हैं डेवलपमेंट के लिए, रिसर्च के लिए, उसको एंडाउनमेंट्स कहते हैं। अच्छा ये बताओ, फंडिंग किसको बोलते हैं? व्हाट इज फंडिंग यूज फॉर? जरा कमेंट में मुझे आंसर करके बताओ, फंडिंग किसको मिलती है? पैसा तो वो भी है, गवर्नमेंट फंडिंग भी मिलती है, प्राइवेट फंडिंग भी मिलती है। फंडिंग किसको मिलती है? व्हाट इज फंडिंग? व्हाट काइंड ऑफ मनी इज फंडिंग? बताओ जरा कमेंट में। पिक द करेक्ट एंटोनम ऑफ द टर्म डायलेट। ऑपोजिट वर्ड बताना है डायलेट का। सो डायलेट का मतलब क्या होता है? व्हाट इज डायलेट? Dilate is to expand. Expand is the synonym, meaning of the word dilate. ठीक है? So dilate is expanding in in their limits. That is dilate. Generally, it is associated with eyes or blood vessels. That is dilation. Specifically in surgeries, or maybe when someone puts an eye drop on your in your eyes, then they dilate, or maybe in the dark even you expand your eyeballs. So that is dilate. So इसका opposite निकालना है, एंटोनम निकालना है, तो क्या होगा? कॉन्ट्रैक्ट, छोटा करना। You have to identify error. So there is one sentence which is divided into 3 parts. You have to identify error. Easy peasy. I was disappointed when I came for seeing you last evening, but could not find you at home. So for seeing you, we do not say, we say I came to see you, to visit. पर वहां यू नहीं आएगा फिर, तो बेसिकली एरर इज इन टू। So this is the answer. Passive equivalent. So again, as I told you, very hackneyed and repetitive questions in JIPMAT. Active, passive, direct, indirect, almost every year भर भर के questions पूछ रहे हैं. So you should prepare this concept properly. They are asking questions on pronouns. They are asking questions on subject-verb agreements and conjunctions, correlatives generally, neither nor, either or, none. Not only but also and all that stuff. So repetitively we are solving these questions, so it should be clear in your mind now that these kinds of questions will be appearing in the exam. Alright, so passive equivalent of the taxi will drop you at the airport. So what is the first rule of thumb when we convert an active into passive or a passive into active? First rule of thumb is you have to interchange the position of subject and object. What is the subject here? Taxi. And who is the object? You. So what should be the subject in the answer? It should be you, not the taxi. Dropping you at the airport will be done by the taxi is wrong. So answer should be D. You will be dropped at the airport by the taxi. We need to understand that tense will never be changed. Will. Very easy question. If you work smartly, you have no chance of getting confused at all. You just go with the rule of thumb, active to passive, passive to active. The first thing is interchange the subject and object positions. The moment you do, you can eliminate two options, at times even all wrong options, and you have the answer in hand. But if not, at least two options you can right away eliminate. Then the second thing is tenses. You don't change tense in active passive. So tense remains the same. The tense is here will, that is future tense. And so the answer clearly comes out as D. So no chance of getting confused. Next question. See, as I told you. So active, passive, direct, indirect speech. So the coach said, well done, you have made me proud. The coach is appreciating, applauding, so applaud. Now in direct indirect speech, you know that we need to replace this comma with that. Second is that, we have to change this person. You have made me proud. So when I'm using direct speech, I am saying it to you because you're the listener, I'm the speaker. So I will say, you have made me proud. But when you report the same thing to your mom, you would not say you have made me proud because she hasn't made you proud. You will say, ma'am told me or ma'am applauded me in the class that I have made her or him proud. Isn't it? So you have to keep that in mind. Now we have A and D. B and C cancel out because says doesn't make sense. So this is wrong. So we have said that, said that. Now the only difference between A and D is in the tense, that is this is has and this is had. Now what is the tense here? It is made, so it is in past tense. You have made me proud. Okay, so it is not past tense, it is present tense. But when we are talking about, when we are reporting it, we need to change the tense. And so, and यहाँ पर तो obvious ही बात है, he has made him proud, who has made him proud. I have बोलेंगे ना, कोई दूसरा थोड़ी ना proud करवा रहा है, तो context ही change हो गया. I didn't notice this. The coach applauded and said that he has made him proud. He himself has made him proud. Doesn't make sense. So it has to be that he had made Oh, he had made him proud. That's a confusion. Okay. Okay. He had. Okay. Mm, I thought that because this is a listening wala part, no? I thought I have made him proud, Anache. I had made him proud. You have made me proud. No. Both sentences have he only. Okay. So we have changed this to past tense because we are reporting it. You have made me proud now, but you will be reporting it to somebody else. Then you say, I had made him proud or he had made him proud because you are reporting it to the other person. Time has passed, so it will become had. Okay. There are some things which are a little dicey here. All right, pick up the odd one out. Now these are phrasal verbs. Plan for, plan on, plan out, plan in. So plan in, basically plan for, plan on, plan out are very commonly used. Plan in is not generally used. It is only used in certain specific conditions of scheduling or maybe timings or meetings. When you are ahead of planning ahead, proactively doing something, then you use plan in. All right. So plan for, plan out, or plan on are commonly used for planning something beforehand. For example, plan on is to expect something, expect something. That is plan on something, isn't it? So, I didn't plan on staying out so late, but it happened. So that is, it was not expected, but I did that. All right. So that is, then plan out. It is largely for, carefully, planning something. Like you plan out, timetables for your studies or examination, or you plan out things for your career. That is planning out. Plans for or plan for something is simple future. What are your plans for next week or maybe next year? Okay, that ways. But plan in is more professional and less in use. Otherwise, it is used on scheduling as well only. All right. Active voice for the passive sentence. So what is the first thing that you will do? You will interchange the position of subject and object. So it has to start with the players, but that's not supporting us. Second is the tense is being. That means it is present continuous. Now, where is present continuous? The players are singing the national anthem. Okay, what is this? Seems to be a close test. The question is over here. So first we have to read it through and then we have to fill. Are people dash or even typically guided by reason rather than say by passion or impulse? If the norms of rational behavior are not followed by people in their actual behavior, how can we seek the same answer? Blah, blah, blah. Shouldn't the economist who make such doable double use of maximization, whether through explicit reasoning or this is whether, where is it? Whether something or something else. So whether and or. So this is basically conjunction which has been asked to you. Second is fill the third blank. So let's see the third blank here. It says, goes by the name of bounded rationality. It concerns the possibility that people may not in all cases look for fully dashed choices. Fully dashed choices. So this is choices, this is a noun. So fully rational choices, rational choices, rationally, rationality. So it should be rational choice because choice is a noun. So we need an adjective over here. An adjective is here. This is adverb. Rational and rationality are both noun. And this is adjective. Okay. Now they are asking you the fourth blank. There is a considerable evidence powerfully presented, for example, by dash that people. So presented by, there is a considerable evidence powerfully presented by someone. So by someone. So it has to be B. Powerfully presented by somebody, isn't it? And the names are written over here. Okay. Now you have to decide for the first blank. Are people dash or even typically guided by reason? So are people invariably? So invariably or B or C? What it has to be? This is wrong spelling. Invariable is adjective. Invariability is the noun or the name of the quality. Invariably is the adverb. And how we know that invariably will come? Because here it is saying typically. So are people invariably or even typically guided by reason? So guided is a verb. So how are they guided? They are guided invariably or typically. Alright, so it has to be ly. Okay. So this is, I suppose, a reading comprehension passage. As I told you earlier, in JIPMAT, it is mandatory. It is very, very productive for you to read questions first and then scan through the passage quickly and answer questions. Whichever question you feel that, it's very easy to answer, you answer it there and then you can take or buy some time for the tougher questions which are less likely to come in JIPMAT, but yes, you may never know. So we should always create time for ourselves. Which word in the passage is close in meaning to being logical and true? So this is like a synonym kind of a question. Being logical and true, inquiry, compound, formulated, it is validity or valid. Something which is logical and true is valid. So even without reading the passage, because I know the meaning of the word or I know the one word substitution for the word, the answer is in my hand. As per the passage, which of the following was primarily discussed by Panini? So we have to see where Panini is being talked about. Here it is. Let's go to the other question. Which of the following statements are true about the given passage? So this has to be read. Probably these are all the sentences from the passage itself. Then which inquiries are undertaken in Shastraic expositions? So Shastraic exposition. So these seem to be a little typical. Are there any more questions? No. Okay, so let's read the passage and then solve the questions. Literary criticism does not necessarily have to choose between textual or verbal and contextual study. The distinction between the two types of linguistic meaning is seen at two levels, formal and textual. Formal meaning in poetry is the level at which stylistic patterns occur, but these are not restricted to mere form. So this is talking about literary criticism. It is not just verbal and contextual, but it is also seen in the linguistic meaning, that is formal and textual. Formal meaning in poetry is level at which stylistic pattern occur, but not restricted to mere poetry. So that means apart from verbal and context, that is what words are used and what are their context, we need to study literary criticism at the level of style of writing also, not just in poetry but otherwise also. That's the meaning of the paragraph. Panini discusses a few sutras scattered over his work, the influence of the concept of language in various spheres, of suffixes, primary and secondary derivatives and compounds. Poetics is also in debt to grammar for the term jati, that is genus, and kriya, that is action, guna, that is quality, and dravya, that is individual or the substance, which is used or which it uses in connection with certain poetic figures or while dealing with expressive functions of words. So, as per the passage, which of the following primarily discussed by Panini, he says that it is the importance of grammar, importance of derivatives and compounds, and expressive function of words. So terms like jati, kriya, guna and dravya, yes, it has been termed, but terms is in debt to grammar for this. Impact of language on derivative words. Philosophical issues he has not talked about. Critical questions he has not talked about. He has talked about A and B, but major primary discussion is about primary and secondary derivatives and compounds. So the answer should be B. Next question. True about the given passage. So we have to read the last paragraph. Literary criticism in Sanskrit tradition has been understood to be a shastra, shastra likha hua hai, by which is meant any systematic, well formulated body of knowledge. So this should be shastra. The Shastraic exposition is supposed to involve inquiry into nature of substance, nature of language, and the validity of critical statements. Thus, a basic understanding of grammatical and philosophical issues is a prerequisite for understanding of critical questions. So let's see which sentences you feel are correct. Literary criticism must use either textual or contextual study. So this is eliminated because the first sentence itself denies this. Formal and textual are two levels and help in ascertaining linguistic meanings. This is true. The first paragraph itself is talking about it. Critical questions cannot be understood without a philosophical and grammatical understanding. This is the last line of the passage, so this is true. Panini has written in a compact form of sutra. It is not mentioned that he has written it in compact form or no. He has written sutra, but whether it is compact format or no, we do not know this. I am not sure about it. Sanskrit has a tradition of literary criticism for a long time. Do we see that? It is saying literary criticism in Sanskrit tradition has been understood to be a shastra, by which it is meant any systematic, well formulated this thing. So it is a long standing tradition which has been stated over here. So the answer should be D. Okay. Next question is, which inquiries are undertaken in Shastric exposition? So we have this Shastric exposition. A Shastric exposition is supposed to involve inquiry into nature of substance, nature of language, and the validity of critical statements. Thus, a basic understanding of the grammatical and philosophical issues is a prerequisite for understanding of critical questions. So, primary and secondary derivatives of compounds, nature of substance, yes. Stylistic patterns, not been talked about. Nature of language, yes. Validity of critical statements, being talked about. So, what should be the answer? B, D, and E. Answer should be this. So, the passage seems to be a little tricky, complicated to understand. Verbose also, because not too many words used for simple expressions. Questions are a little lengthier, but then if you really look deep dive into it, they are really true and false questions. So not much to be worried about it. If you have just gone through the passage once, you can actually match the options and clearly get the answers. One out of 4 questions you may take a little bit of time. Otherwise, most of the questions we have solved in no time at all. In fact, the first question we have solved without even reading the passage. Come on, it was just vocabulary question, isn't it? So if you're smart enough to sail through the passage, and scan very quickly, you will be able to do it nicely or accurately without getting confused in the data. Okay. Any doubts, any questions regarding any of these explanations? You're most welcome. Chalo, let's move on to the next question. This is again a passage. Let me see if you have any comments. Okay, so I have a question. If we are confused in 2 options, yes, so that is very much possible, Parth, that you may get confused in 2 options. So don't worry about that. When you are confused, look back to that, go back to that paragraph, look to that, expression which is given. Then you match, exact context, and you can eliminate the wrong option. It is very much possible that you get confused between 2 options. So context is going to save you. I hope, Parth, you get your answer. Sure. In reading comprehension passages, specifically if I talk about JIPMAT, hardly any confusion happens. But yes, if at all you have, go back to that paragraph, read it again, and compare the options with the given data. It is just matching the data, nothing more than that. They are not asking you questions which are, in depth or maybe inferential, just like the IPMAT Indore. They are just asking you to scan through, match the data, and you can get the answers. Right? Let's move on to the second passage. Do it again. Given below are 2 statements, statement 1, statement 2. In light of the above statements, choose the most appropriate answer. So there is no hint which is given here. Move on to the next question. What does the phrase "the pale cast of thought" mean? Where is this pale cast of thought written? Just over the head of the question. So what it is meaning? Let's read the last sentence. It is easy to understand, therefore, why such thinkers fly to the solitude of their own thoughts or the silent companionship of the immortals. And if they care to present their views in prose or verse to the world, that these views take a somber and melancholic setting from the pale cast of thought in which they are engendered. So it's very clearly saying that thinkers generally take recluse or shelter in their own silent companionship of solitude. Solitude means अकेले रहना ज़्यादा पसंद करते हैं. Why? Because they need that melancholy. They need to be in the कंपनी ऑफ इमॉर्टल्स. दैट मीन्स जो अमर हो चुके हैं, जो बहुत ज्ञानी लोग थे या बहुत महान लोग थे, उन्हीं की संगति में वो लोग ज्यादा करके रहते हैं. बिकॉज ये दे नीड टू थिंक and they need to think deeper, so they don't want to get into the ruckus of common gossips or chit chats. They keep themselves away from it because they need the setting from the pale cast of thought and state of mind during sickness. This is not paleness of sickness. Sudden and quick flash of thoughts. So this is not quick and flash of thoughts. Unhappy and disillusioned state of mind. I don't think so. It is disillusioned because they are great thinkers. So obviously they are not disillusioned. So, and they are not unhappy either. So it is serious and prolonged thinking. So by just reading the options and the last sentence, you are able to solve the question. One question in just 30 seconds. Okay. Next question is, given below are two statement, assertion and reasoning का question है. So this is reason and this is assertion. So we will have to read the entire passage for this. Then according to the author, why do the great thinkers need to attain and remain at the high plane of thoughts? So we have read this last sentence. It is easy to understand, therefore, why such thinkers fly to the solitude of their own thoughts. यही है आंसर इसका भी. Let's try it out. Because they want to enjoy harmony and serenity from ideal companionship. Because the experience of greatness makes them impatient of being ordinary man. Or because a high plane of intellectual life instill a spiritual and intellectual pride in them, or because they are apathetic to common and solely eager to attain lofty ideals. So if I have to eliminate, I will definitely eliminate the D one because this is too much. It is only saying that they need to attain the lofty ideals. So they are apathetic to common people. They are not apathetic. Apathetic means what? Indifferent to. कोई feeling नहीं है. Common लोग साथ क्या और उनको कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ता. ऐसा नहीं है. They need that solitude to get into that depth of thought. तो ये बहुत ही negative sense में use किया हुआ है. So D is something which is wrong. So D is wrong. So I have answer as right. So हमें क्वेश्चन भारी लगता है पर कॉमन सेंस के साथ सॉल्व करोगे तो इतना भारी नहीं है. Is what I am trying to make you understand. I have not read the passage right now. I've just read the last sentence and I've solved two questions. Mind you. चलो. So अच्छा ये क्वेश्चन क्या है? अच्छा ये क्वेश्चन वही वाला जो हमने सॉल्व किया अभी. So D गलत है. So D is wrong. A is the answer. Okay. So let's solve this assertion reasoning wala question. For that we need to read the passage. And let's read these two statements also. Okay. So all great thinkers live and move on a high plane of thought. It is only there they can breathe freely. By the way, this is something which you should do only if time permits. Huh? This is not an A-type question. Because we need to discuss it right now, I'm discussing it for the sake of session. In your real exam, if there are two options, first go through the passage, the question, sorry, identify the easiest questions out of 4, solve them, move ahead. Don't waste your time in these questions. Or once you have done all the easy questions, now you're left with time, you want to solve, then give it a try. That's what I'm making you do. All right. So don't waste your time in unnecessary, lengthy questions which you are not able to understand. Just move ahead with easy questions first. Solve all the grammar questions, all vocabulary questions, all questions which are easy to do. Even in the reading comprehension also, if there are 4 to 5 questions, 3 are easy, 2 are difficult or lengthy. Leave those 2 questions, just solve these 3 questions, move to the next. You don't have time to waste, is what I'm saying. All right. So, okay, now these are 2 statements and both are saying the author upholds the Baconian theory because, and he holds that Bacon was more resourceful than Shakespeare. So where is he talking about it? It is largely here, but let's have a quick reading about it. Otherwise we'll get confused. All great thinkers live and move on a high plane of thought. It is only there they can breathe freely. It is only in contact with spirits like themselves they can live harmoniously and attain that serenity which comes from ideal companionship. I have always thought that the strongest argument in favor of the Baconian theory was that no man, however indubitable his genius, indubitable, undoubtful, his geniuses could have written the plays and sonnets that have come down to us under Shakespeare's name, who had not the liberal education of Bacon. So it's a very important sentence which is very clearly saying that Bacon had such great education, thought process, and that is the reason why he was able to give such a deep thought over so many things and give theories about it. Bacon के बहुत सारे essays हैं about truth, about studies, about friends, about relationships, very very deep, thought. But when it comes to Shakespeare, he did not have that kind of liberal education, and whatever has been written under Shakespeare's name might not be even his own, creative thought. So that's what he's saying, that could have written the plays and sonnets that have come down to us under Shakespeare's name. How this habit of intercourse with the gods make one impatient of mere men. Now, this is not actually in the verbal sense or in the vocabulary sense. It is actually giving you a philosophical sense कि किसी इंसान की जो इंटेलेक्ट है वो इमोर्टल्स के लेवल की है, मतलब वो बहुत महान लोगों के लेवल पे थिंकिंग करता है, तो उसको ऑर्डिनरी लोगों से बहुत सुख नहीं मिल पाता, उनसे बात करके बहुत सुख नहीं मिल पाता. इज व्हाट इट सेज. The magnificent ideals that have ever haunted the human mind and given us our highest proof of a future immortality by reason of impossibility of their fulfillment are splintered into atoms by contact with life's realities. So basically, बहुत सारा वर्बोसिटी है इसमें, बहुत फिलोसफिकल थॉट है इसमें, तो नेवर गेट इनटू द डेप्थ ऑफ इट, बस अंडरस्टैंड कि भाई ये बहुत क्लियरली बोल रहा है कि हमारा जो ह्यूमन माइंड है, इट हैज ऑलवेज बीन हॉन्टेड बाय द मैग्निफिसेंट आइडियल्स एंड वी आर नॉट जस्ट हम लोग उसकी फुलफिलमेंट के लिए नहीं ट्राई करते हैं, क्योंकि वो लाइफ की रियलिटीज में बिखर के चूर चूर हो जाते हैं. बातें तो हम बहुत बड़ी बड़ी करते हैं, बहुत कुछ सोचते भी हैं, अपने आप को आइडियलाइज भी करने की कोशिश करते हैं, बट लाइफ की जो हार्श रियलिटीज है वो सब आइडियल जो आइडियल बातें उनको बिखेर के रख देती है. Hence comes our sublime discontent. It may be spiritual or intellectual pride that is engendered on the high plane of intellectual life, but whatever it is, it becomes inevitable. A habitual meditation on the vast problems that underlie human life and are knit into human destinies. It is easy to understand, therefore, why such thinkers fly to the solitude of their own thoughts or the silent companionship of the immortals, and if they care to present their views in prose or verse to the world, that these views take a somber and melancholy setting from the pale cast of thought in which they were engendered. Statement 1. Author upholds the Baconian theory because, according to him, despite being a genius, Shakespeare could not write the plays and sonnets that have come down to us under his name. So this is correct. That's what the meaning of the sentence here. He holds that Bacon was more resourceful than Shakespeare because he had liberal education. So yes, he had more liberal education, but is it that he was more resourceful? So I would have gone with both the statements because both are mentioned over here. So both 1 and 2 are correct. Because both are mentioned in just this sentence. Where is it? This one. Then assertion, reasoning. Yeah. So given below are two statements. One is label assertion and reason. Assertion is the passage presents a rationale behind the great writers, flight to solitude of their thoughts, and silent companionship of immortals. बिल्कुल सही है. The reason which he gives is they do so because they are melancholic and naturally averse to ordinary humanity. They are not averse to it. It's only that they are impatient to it. उनको थोड़ा ज्यादा चाहिए. वो एक ordinary life और ordinary चीजों में संतुष्ट नहीं हो पाते. They are impatient for them. So it's not that they are averse to it, and it is never that they are disgusted by that. तो ये थोड़ा सा गलत लग रहा है. So A is correct, but R is not correct. So C is the answer. So again, मतलब एक भी क्वेश्चन ऐसा नहीं है जिसमें कोई बहुत ज्यादा कंफ्यूजन हो रहा हो. पैसेज थोड़ा सा डिफिकल्ट टू रीड लग सकता है क्योंकि वर्बोसिटी बहुत है, अननेसेसरी रैम्बलिंग ज्यादा है उसमें, बट देन क्वेश्चन सॉल्विंग इज नॉट दैट डिफिकल्ट. अगेन रिपीटिंग, इजीएस्ट क्वेश्चंस चूज करो, सॉल्व करो, आगे बढ़ जाओ. डोंट वेस्ट योर टाइम. सो असर्शन, रीजनिंग, ओके, वही वाला क्वेश्चन है जो नीचे था. सो वी कैन रीड इट प्रॉपरली हियर. The passage presents a rationale behind great writers' flight to the solitude of their thoughts and silent companionship of immortals. ये बिल्कुल सही है, उसे 3 बार रिपीट किया ये. बट क्या रीजन ये है? They do so because they are melancholic, ठीक है. Naturally averse to ordinary humanity and disgust of unregenerated masses. They are not disgusted or averse, but they are impatient, is what he said. And impatience का मतलब वो संतुष्ट नहीं हो पाते उस चीज से, उनको थोड़ा ज्यादा चाहिए. तो इट्स नॉट कि वो डिस्गस्टेड है, दे आर नॉट रेस्ट्रिक्टेड टू दैट, दे नीड टू हैव मोर. सो रीजन गलत है, असर्शन सही है, एंड देयरफॉर द आंसर शुड बी सी. ये हो गया अपना क्वेश्चन. लेट्स मूव ऑन टू द नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन. Meaning of the phrase. अब इसमें ये देखो कि तुम्हें कौन से क्लियरली पता है, which one you are very confident about. ठीक है, सो बहुत क्लियरली हो जाएगा। अप फॉर ग्रैब्स, ग्रैब मतलब क्या, झपट लेना, ग्रैब कर लेना, तो किसी के लिए भी अवेलेबल होगा तभी हम ग्रैब करेंगे। अवेलेबल फॉर एनीवन। मेक है वाइल सन शाइन्स, तो जब तक अपॉर्चुनिटी है तब तक काम कर लो, सो यूज अपॉर्चुनिटी वाइल देयर लास्ट। तो बी का 3 है, ए का 4 है। गो है वायर, गो है वायर इधर उधर बिखर जाना चीजों का, आउट ऑफ कंट्रोल चले जाना, बिकम आउट ऑफ कंट्रोल। गेट ऑफ लाइटली, दैट मीन्स बहुत सिवियर पनिशमेंट मिलने वाली थी बट दैट पर्सन गॉट ऑफ लाइटली, छोटी मोटी उसको पनिशमेंट देके बाहर कर दिया। सो वेरी क्लियरली द आंसर शुड बी व्हाट, बी का 3 है, सी B3, सी का क्या है, सी का 2 है, डी इज 1। हाँ तो ये रहा आंसर, दिस इज द आंसर ना। नेक्स्ट, ओ हाँ, टेंसेस निकालने हैं। What can you ask? You know, there could not be a better question than this in an exam. You know, free के आपको marks मिल रहे हैं। I shall speak, simple future. I shall have spoken, future perfect. I shall have been speaking, perfect continuous. I shall be speaking, future continuous. तो D का 3 डन, 15 seconds भी नहीं लग रहे, ठीक है। वर्ड मीनिंग मैच करने हैं, नहीं वर्ड मीनिंग नहीं मैच करनी, यूसेज मैच करना है। So again, all men are mortal. So men is noun. So obviously all men. What kind of men or how many men? All men. So men, all is defining noun. So this is an adjective. He was all alone when I saw him. How he was? He was all alone. So all spoke in his favor. Ye all is representing people. So this is a pronoun. He lost his all in speculation. All is here. All he had. All the wealth he had. Isn't it? So all is here now. अब इनमें से कोई सा भी अगर आपको पता हो तो आप, सॉरी ये एडवर्ब, तो आप मैच कर सकते हो। मुझे चारों ही पता है इसलिए मुझे कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है, लेकिन आपको कोई दो भी पता होंगे तो आप आराम से कर सकते हो। जैसे ऑल स्पोक इन हिज फेवर, ये प्रोनाउन है, या ही लॉस्ट ऑल इन स्पेक्यूलेशन तो नाउन है। ही लॉस्ट व्हाट, ऑल, ऑल मतलब सारी वेल्थ, ऑल मनी तो नाउन है। ऑल मेन आर मॉर्टल तो मेन इज नाउन, नाउन को क्वालिफाई कर रहा है, एडजेक्टिव है। तो इनमें से कोई सा भी अगर आपको मालूम है तो आंसर बहुत इजीली निकल आएगा। या नेक्स्ट, ग्रामेटिकल मिस्टेक्स निकालनी है। So this is a variety which they generally ask in I'm Indore. कैट वैरायटी है, थोड़ी सी मतलब टाइम कंज्यूमिंग है, लेकिन the sentences here are not at all very confusing. You can easily identify. Now, say for yourself, the economists were of the opinion. भाई या तो होगा economist were या होगा economist was. ये गड़बड़ हो गई ना, तो ए तो है ही एरर में, तो इसका मतलब ये दोनों तो हो नहीं सकते। अब देखना है बी एस सी, टू पे द लोन इंस्टेड, सॉरी the economists were of the opinion that the government should give longer times to farmers. Longer times या longer time? तो obvious सी बात है, आंसर इज ए. हो गया, बात खत्म. चलो, दिस इज सेंटेंस अरेंजमेंट, मतलब वो पैरा जंबल है, सेंटेंस जंबल है. मैंने तुम्हें बताया हुआ है, आई एम रिपीटिंग, जब भी सेंटेंस जम्बलिंग को सॉल्व करना है, ऑलवेज लुक फॉर द सब्जेक्ट ऑफ द सेंटेंस. सब्जेक्ट ऑफ द सेंटेंस हाथ में आ गया, सेंटेंस पूरा बन जाएगा. सब्जेक्ट और वर्ब अगर है हाथ में तो हो गया. अभी सेंटेंस को देखते हैं. दैट इज क्लोजली रिलेटेड टू द पीच ट्री. आमंड्स आर कॉमनली कॉल्ड नट्स बट दे आर एक्चुअली सीड्स. ये दे किसके लिए है? आमंड्स के लिए. And they come from a tree. कौन सा ट्री? That is closely related to peach tree. बहुत क्लियर लिंक्स है. Almonds are commonly called nuts, but they are actually seeds. They are not nuts. तो BC आ गया. हम BC को बीच में रख सकते हैं क्या? A से स्टार्ट कर सकते हैं. That is closely related. नहीं. DA not at all. So the answer should be BCDA. Here is the paragraph and you have to solve it. So that is this, again para jumble. Look for the opening sentence. First thing you need to do is look for the opening sentence. What's the opening sentence here? Can I say for that we need people? Is that opening sentence? So the need for the hour. When we talk of investing in education, a question arises. So this seems to be the opening sentence. Our aim is to evolve not only an affluent society but an egalitarian, just human. So this can be also C या D से start होना चाहिए. A से तो start नहीं हो सकता है. अब देखते हैं. When we talk of investing in education, a question arises that as to what kind of education needs to be given to the youngsters. Our aim is to evolve not only an affluent society but an egalitarian. Egalitarian मतलब अच्छा काम करने वाली, just humane and compassionate society. So if I start with D, our aim is to evolve not only an affluent society but an egalitarian, just human and compassionate society. For that we need people who possess not only high skills but high values. So DA का लिंक तो बॉस बनता है, DA का लिंक तो बनता है, और DA का लिंक सब में दिया हुआ है. B, C के बाद B तो आना पॉसिबल नहीं है. दिस इज रॉन्ग. यहां पर C भी आ रहा है, ये भी रॉन्ग. तो आंसर इज डी. क्योंकि सी बोल रहा है when we talk of investing in education, a question arises as to what kind of education needs to be given to the youngsters. और यहाँ तो वो कंक्लूजन दे रहा है. So the need of hour is, ये तो कंक्लूजन हो गया. तो बिना रीजन दिए हुए हमें करना क्या है? दिस इज ओपनिंग सेंटेंस. ठीक है. So that's it. I suppose 100 questions थे, 100 हो गए. That was the last question which we discussed. पता ही नहीं चलता है कैसे फटाफट स्पीड से क्वेश्चंस सॉल्व हो जाते हैं. सो एंड ऑब्वियसली यहाँ तो डिस्कशन भी कर रहे हैं क्वेश्चन सॉल्व करते हुए. जब तुम एग्जाम में सॉल्व करोगे तो डिस्कशन थोड़ा करना है, किसी को एक्सप्लेन थोड़ी ना करना है कि कैसे सॉल्व करना है. यू जस्ट हैव टू डू इट बाय फाइंडिंग द हिंट्स एंड मार्किंग द आंसर. So the purpose of again questions इतनी बार क्यों रिपीटेटिवली बोल रही हूँ, इसीलिए बोल रही हूँ कि प्रैक्टिस जब भी करो तो पर्पस शुड बी टू सेव ऑन योर टाइम. ठीक है. सो डोंट गेट इनटू too much of solving with the rules, with the explanations. Otherwise it will be hell boring for you and you will end up wasting a lot of time. Use your common sense, use your scanning and skimming techniques to save on your time in reading comprehension, parajumbles, grammar, vocabulary, everything. Options से करने की आदत रखो. Options are बेस्ट वे ऑफ आंसरिंग, क्योंकि ऑप्शंस में दो ऑप्शंस ऐसे हैं जो बिल्कुल गलत होते हैं. यू आर ऑलवेज स्टक बिटवीन टू ऑप्शंस. अगर तुम्हें मालूम है तो यू विल बी एबल टू मेक एन एजुकेटेड गेस, तो इजी हो जाता है सॉल्व करना. If you have any questions, you're most welcome to ask any other question you have, except for what you have already asked and I've answered. Chalo, so then it works well with you. I hope you will revise and practice solving questions with this video again and again. This was live, but those who have not attended live, my request is कि उसको स्पीड से सॉल्व करने की साथ साथ में कोशिश करो. अगर इस वीडियो को 2-3 बार भी देखना पड़े तो डोंट हेजिटेट एट ऑल. Alright, this is for you, for your benefit. So until we meet next time, that is tomorrow, take good care of yourself. Bye.